Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Hello and welcome to WrestleRamble. This is Luke Owen, I'm Ollie Davis, and today we're going to be reviewing this week's episodes of Raw and Smackdown, including two lady main events, Samoa Joe attacking Brock Lesnar, and possibly a new contender for the worst segment of the year so far. If you want to go to any of those conversations right away, click the timestamps in the video description below, and you'll be taken right there. But for now, because we haven't been here for 2 weeks, we are going to talk about the big thing that happened as we were leaving, which is the phenomenon, which is SWAFT.
SWAFT-mania has run wild across the WrestleTalk universe.
I've seen it on WWE videos.
Really?
I've seen it on What Culture videos.
Wow,
Yeah.
crikey, it is taking over.
People are tweeting me.
Yeah. And
I saw a tweet that didn't even have us copied in, that was using SWAFT.
it was quite funny because I actually clicked the hashtag because I had a few people who had tweeted me with the hashtag SWAFT. And I was like, I wonder if there are any other people that are using this, as a bit of a humble brag exercise, I suppose, to see, like, look at my thing that I've made up that's
Look at my idiot mistake.
Look at my idiot mistake that's now people are using as something. And then there was this string of tweets from a guy, and I was like, oh my god, he loves it. No, he was just talking about the Enzo and Cass segment, but misspelling soft in his tweets.
I saw a lot of genuine
mistakes. Yeah, totally.
Because it's not going to flag up in autocorrect, because it's not a word anyway. As Kurt Angle pointed out, that's not how you spell soft.
So my friend, who was the one who first pointed out SWAFT to me.
Should we talk about what SWAFT is? Because a few people have been like, when someone comments hashtag SWAFT in the comments, a few people are like, oh, you've spelt soft wrong. You spelled SWAFT right. So would you describe what's happened here?
Well, here's the thing is, I never considered what SWAFT might actually mean. So I don't really know. So so soft is used as a derogatory term on one's opponent. So is using SWAFT, is that the opposite, like bizarro? It's like, opposite
like Canada.
Day. Yeah.
It's bizarro land.
Like Bret Hart's a babyface there. So is SWAFT like the antithesis to soft? Or soft?
I don't know. I sort of more meant the etymology of the word.
How it came about. Okay, I'll tell that story then.
Tell that story as well.
So, I mean, if you didn't see the episode where I brought up SWAFT in the first place, a friend of mine, we went watching WrestleMania last year, and I was emailing about Enzo and Cass. It was probably like NXT predictions. It was probably something along those lines.
Called up.
Yes, it was probably like who was going to be called up after WrestleMania. I think that's probably where the conversation was going. And I said, I think it'll be Enzo and Cass. And I put SWAFT, soft, thinking like I was super clever, putting like their catchphrase in there. Until my friend replied back to me, is like, you do realize you said SWAFT, not soft. And I was like, oh, you're right, I did. And then ever since then, we have only ever said SWAFT to each other. In fact, we've been in live shows and have done it there because we think we're funny.
SWAFT,
SWAFT. Thinking we're hilarious.
Now this has bled into the wider wrestling universe. And of course, the team have broken up now.
I know.
This happened last week when I was away.
Which means we now have full reign of it, really.
Yeah.
We don't have anyone competing against us.
Yeah, so we can... Soft is over. SWAFT is dead. SWAFT. Long live SWAFT.
SWAFT is the future. But it's funny, so like when we posted up that video, there was just like comment after comment after comment of like hashtag SWAFT, 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 Luke and Ollie are SWAFT. And I was just taking photos of it and I sent it to my friend on WhatsApp who came up to me. I was like, dude, look what I accidentally started on WrestleTalk. He was very, very pleased.
People are asking for SWAFT t-shirts.
Yeah, I saw a guy trying to get like a SWAFT Bros thing, like that kid with the chicken McNuggets or whatever it was that he wanted, the Wendy's nuggets.
Yeah.
Didn't quite catch the same fire.
Yeah, I said he needed 267 hearts or retweets. I can't remember. Yeah. I get confused with social media and pokes, I believe. And he didn't get anywhere close. It was a good try though.
Good try. Well done.
But yeah, SWAFT. It's a phenomenon. But what does SWAFT mean?
So do you agree that it's the antithesis? It's bizarro soft.
You know how aloha can mean both hello and
goodbye? Yeah.
I feel like SWAFT is also a word that is multifunctional in both extremes of the meaning. So you can go, oh man, that was totally SWAFT. And, that's bad. Oh, SWAFT. But, oh, that's SWAFT. That's a good use of the SWAFT.
Yeah.
But that could get confusing, particularly if written.
Yes.
Because there is no place for inflection. I guess you could have an emoji in there.
Yep. We could
Little
pick,
flamenco dancer.
we could pick out a SWAFT emoji. What emoji best sums up SWAFT? Apparently, actually, there's a Great Balls of Fire emoji.
Of course there is.
On WhatsApp, apparently you can pick the logo out.
That's going to be a regular thing.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
Great, but every year.
Oh, yes.
That's the talk.
I did laugh as well that on Raw they keep having to refer to it as the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. They can't just call it Great Balls of Fire. There's just
is it because it's trademarked?
No, it's just because if you can't to say they're going to have a fight at Great Balls of Fire, it just sounds daft.
It does sound ridiculous.
So what they do is like they're going to have a fight at the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, which makes it sound even worse. It's what was the SummerSlam one?
Summerfest. You mean when someone pronounced it wrong?
Or like Roadblock, end of the line. You have to say like the full title. WrestleMania, the Ultimate Thrill Ride, or the Ultimate Thrill Ride, WrestleMania.
Ultimate Thrill Ride. Well, it was Survivor Series, Fantasy Warfare just got real.
That's it. Yes, that's
which
the one.
we pinched for our Fantasy Booking Warfare. We are 6 minutes into this goddamn show.
You wanted to do this. I said, like, do you want to just jump into Raw? And you said, no, let's talk about SWAFT.
Well, I think SWAFT is the hot button issue.
It's not Morrow returning to NXT or anything like that.
What do you think, WrestleTalkers?
Just touched his hand a bit there.
Did I what?
I just touched your hand a bit there.
Did you?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's kinky. So put your ideas for what SWAFT should mean. Actually, maybe it should mean bad, because I've got a different word for something that means good that I think we should adopt.
Oh, really? What's that?
Goldblum.
You want to move that over from the podcast into
so
here?
We do a movie podcast, and the running joke is how we rate films is 10 out of 10 Jeff Goldblums, who's, of course, a magnificent actor.
Certainly is.
And I'm just picturing, if that catches on as well, people will hold up big signs of Jeff Goldblum's face. In the crowd.
Yes.
Because we're not vain guys. We don't want Luke and Oli things or WrestleTalk things.
No.
We want abstract words and pictures that give us no traction whatsoever. We should brand this, actually. Should we get on to Raw? So let us know what you think SWAFT should mean, and then we can kind of reverse engineer slogan t-shirts from that.
Exactly.
So, Raw! We are going to review Raw now. We'll just take it from the top. I, of course, haven't given my thoughts publicly.
No, this is very interesting.
For the first time in 16 months.
Wow.
February last year, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, and he obviously caught the sun a little bit.
Do I look red?
Yeah, a little bit. I noticed it when I was watching the Smackdown review that I was like, ooh, Ollie caught the sun while he was at Glastonbury.
So only on these bits, because if I take my t-shirt off, it still looks like I've got a t-shirt on.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that didn't get tanned.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about
Raw. Roman Reigns opened the show with a promo, and Braun came out and interrupted in epic fashion.
I thought this was a very different promo to the one he cut last week.
Reigns.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Roman Reigns last week, I felt
big announcement.
He cut quite a heel. Like, he came across as the ultimate heel in last week's promo. And then I was kind of feeling a bit down on the whole Roman Reigns thing, because I do want to be behind Roman Reigns, but I find that the company's bungling of his character is not helping my. It's making me not like him, and I do want to like him. I don't want to have another John Cena where I hated him for 10 years.
You're a nice guy.
I'm a nice guy. So I'm there like, I want to support you, Roman Reigns. And he's cutting this heel promo, and I'm like, yes, let's do this heel thing where he's a heel, but the commentators aren't really sure how to push him. They don't really know how to commentate him. But then you got Michael Cole go like, oh, look, Roman Reigns is the greatest ever. He's the best one. And I'm like, oh no, okay, so the company still think that he's a babyface. Right, this is all over the show then. And then this week, I thought he cut another a pretty strong babyface promo, and I was like, oh.
Ooh, I don't know, because he was playing up to the crowd's boos a lot. He was like, you ain't gonna like this. Smack, smack, smack.
That's me. It's not a heel thing though. Like I think that's him playing up to the crowd. Sure, but like last week he came across as like a heel. He was just like, I'm a dick, and you're booing me for all the right reasons. Yeah, whereas this week he was like, I'm overcoming adversity here. I'm trying to fight against this big monster. I'm trying to like challenge for my title shot.
You see, I've even written down there Roman heel promo. I feel like it was heelish, especially with how they position Braun, who just, it's impossible not to get very excited when he chucks his hands up in the air and screams his own name. Is he saying Braun, or is it something more primal and guttural?
I think he's just going
Braun! I thought he was saying Braun!
Well, I thought he was but his music does that for him.
Braun!
So he doesn't need that. He just needs to go like, Braun!
God, He's great. Isn't he?
He's the best.
Like what? And then I hope that's his new entrance. The ambulance comes into the. Oh, I wanted Roman Reigns. I see why they did the blind thing, but I just wanted Reigns to open the doors and then chuck them back.
Yeah.
And Braun's just standing there, throws his hands up, Braun, and then attacks Roman. But that would be too babyface for Braun.
So Braun completely killed him in this segment.
That was a pretty wicked bump.
Yeah, pretty great, wasn't it? Yeah,
Chucked Roman off the stage into the side of the ambulance, and he fell down in the crack in between, which reminded me of that awesome bump Roman Reigns took when Braun shoved him down the ramp.
Yes.
And he ended up sort of wedged between the guardrail and the ramp.
Yeah. There's
in the most car crash style fashion.
Two really kind of great bumps, because you had then Cass throwing Enzo down the rampway, and he flew. He flew like a lawn dart. I thought that Reigns took a good bump, but there
was one terrible bump on this show.
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. Yeah. So one would assume that on next week's Raw, the go home show for the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, that Roman will get the one up on him, and then lead into Brawny winning at Brawny the Strowman.
Brawny the Strowman.
Winning at the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. That's what one would assume. I mean, because if Braun defeats him again next week, then Roman's going over at the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view.
Yeah, not all the time. I think someone actually pumped this into an analytics machine, an Excel spreadsheet, let's be honest, to see what the win-loss record is like for people who lose on the go-home show. WWE logic seems to dictate that if you lose on the go-home show, you win at the pay-per-view. Actually, I think that just might be a mindset that was instilled in us when they did do that for years. But in the last 5 years, at least, that hasn't actually been what happens.
Interesting.
And we make that mistake a lot because we're like, in the prediction shows,
totally.
Oh, they lost on the go home, so they must be winning the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But I think they've caught onto that. But we'll see. This felt like the go home. A lot of the stuff on today's
it did feel like a go home show,
so maybe they'll just go crazy next week.
Yes.
Great balls to the wall.
So let's talk about this quite long 6-man tag between the Hardys and Finn Balor against Shamaro and Elias Sampson. Who wants to walk with Elias Sampson?
Yeah, not the Drifter.
No, not the Drifter anymore. Last week, I loved it when he stopped everyone to tune his guitar.
Can everyone
be quiet?
Good.
So great. I have turned a corner on Elias Sampson. I hated him in NXT, but it's funny actually. Gorilla Position were talking about this. How the common concept is that a gimmick that works in NXT doesn't translate onto the main roster. Emma's a great example. Bailey is another example of a gimmick that just did not get over on the main roster. But the Drifter is a character that did not get over in NXT, because as soon as he played, everyone was just like, dude, it wasn't heat, it was just go away.
X-Pac heat.
It was X-Pac heat. It was I don't want to see you anymore. Get off the screen. But he has made that heat real heat on the main roster. It's great. I'm a big Elias Sampson fan now.
Did he ever used to run down the hometown crowd?
Well, no, because it's always in Orlando.
Always in Orlando. Maybe that was a big part of it, because when he actually does sing the songs and he puts in a few lines like that, it does work.
I do miss Corey Graves burying him on commentary, though.
Yeah.
I do miss that.
So this tag match, unfortunately, Sheamus and Cesaro didn't sing, which they seem to be very thankful about.
Yes.
Brian Alvarez pointed out on the Wrestling Observer Radio review that you could see Cesaro lean back and look at Sheamus before the song bit and goes, "Are you ready for this?" And Sheamus is like...
And also, this match was less a 6-man tag and more of an advert for Transformers.
Your
the last
favourite
night.
franchise.
My favourite franchise, Transformers, and Josh Duhamel's...
You went off on one while I was away. Luke wrote a very angry article.
I wrote 2.
On a movie website, Flickr and Myth, about how bad Transformers...
Yeah. Well,
was it Revenge of the Fallen?
Yes.
The third one.
The title was Michael Bay is a deplorable, disgusting director and should be ashamed of himself. Which I stand by.
Tell us what you really mean, Luke.
I stand by it. It was just with the new movie coming out, I was just remindable that the deplorable, horrible things that Michael Bay has done as a filmmaker. And I just got really upset. And it's because Transformers Revenge of the Fallen was on like the night before I wrote it, and then I woke up thinking about it, because I can't get that. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen, and I could not get it burned off the back of my retinas.
I personally like objectifying women, so I'm cool.
As a film director, you probably would audition a female actor to come over.
Such a bad story.
Yeah. Okay. So if you don't know the story, Megan Fox auditioned for Transformers by going over to Michael Bay's house and washing his car while he filmed it. That was it. That was all she had to do, and she got the part. Let's not forget as well that Michael Bay put her in Bad Boys in a bikini when she was 15 in a sexy dance scene. Because he's a deplorable man.
So let's move on from that. Anyway, yes, so the reason this was because Josh Duhamel?
Duhamel.
He was on commentary for this match. I thought, you know what happened? I actually got a phone call during this match because I had usually I watch it at 5:30 in the morning UK time when I get up. And I'm quite sleepy and I'm trying to write notes. But because I was absolutely destroyed from my time away at Glastonbury, I kicked back and watched it at midday with an egg sandwich, and I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Turns out Raw's still way too long. And I get a phone call, and I couldn't figure out how to pause it on Google on the Chromecast, so I was like, mute. Yeah, and I talked. And I was watching the match, sort of half paying attention. I was really enjoying the match. Phone conversation ended. I was like, oh, what's going on here? Oh, no, the commentary's awful. Yeah. And the last 5 minutes of commentary, I was just like, this is... Because it got really good near the end.
Yeah, Josh Duhamel. There is someone who doesn't clue one about what wrestling is, and the blues clue, never seen anything. And he shot himself, not shot himself in the foot, but he exposed the business right at the start of it. When they were like, "Oh, Josh, it's so great to see you out here." It's it's your first time at WWE. It's yeah, I've just been talking with Vince backstage. He invited me down. And I'm like, mate, Vince isn't supposed to be there anymore. Oh, breaking kayfabe no one's been. He's like Booker T.
He doesn't. Vince Russo, right? Just hanging outside looking for a job.
Book me, bro.
Yeah, it wasn't very good, the commentary at all.
He's got his new film coming out, Buddy Games or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, because it's a WWE production, isn't
yes,
it?
and Josh Duhamel is directing, and Sheamus is going to be in it. And I think they were trying to push it as this big thing and be like, oh, Sheamus is going to be in the movie. That's your, that guy wrestling down there. He's going to be in your movie. And then he went, yeah, he's at the start of it. And then so Sheamus is not a featured character within there.
The reason this is because Raw and Smackdown actually were both in California this week. Raw was in LA, and of course a lot of famous people live there, so I guess they just showed up.
Everyone thought Austin was going to be there.
Yeah. We'll get on to in the Miz TV segment.
Austin had T-shirts on sale.
Oh really? That's interesting.
Because I think they were going to start selling Brock's got his Suplex City T-shirt with I think they're going to start doing Stone Cold ones with
cool.
city names, and everyone thought that it meant Austin was going to be there because he was in Los Angeles, as he would call it.
The one bit I really liked about this match was Matt Hardy's hot tag. And he ran in and I think it was Sheamus, he was hitting the head against the turnbuckle, did the first turnbuckle, then went down to the middle one and then went down to the bottom one, and then he did the...
Yeah.
And the crowd went crazy for him.
Here's a hot take. Matt Hardy's very good.
So close. Who else is very good? Goldust!
Okay, so... I've got conflicting thoughts on this because the build for this has been great.
It's been 6 weeks of back and forth promos.
Goldust is a megastar. I want him in a feud with The Miz, and I think it's going to be awesome. I want him to get one last great run with that character, and I think it'll be superb. The promos that he's been cutting are just fabulous.
Feels like nothing else on the show.
Oh, God, it's so great. I absolutely love it. So all the build has been great. The resulting angle was a bit rubbish.
Yeah, Goldust came down. He had a really nice gimmick with a personalised cameraman, which was all gold. You didn't like that?
No, I didn't like that.
I thought because he's making a film, he's making a snuff film about...
But there's only so far you can take that before it becomes
annoying,
Damien Sandow. What if the camera guy gets over?
Oh, yeah. Well, he didn't seem to be a wrestler or anything.
Well, no, but...
good God, we wouldn't want anything to get over.
You want something to overshadow?
I don't mind. That's when you run with them.
No.
Give them make them a manager. So the massive injury angle was Goldust attacked R-Truth before the bell rang. They were meant to have a match. And then Goldust sort of gently pulled him into the ring post. And then R-Truth was just he was blinking like he was... comatose.
Yeah, it was not good.
And is that it?
It was pretty lame. And also that camera operator was getting some awful footage. His shots were dreadful.
Did it show the shots?
No, but it's just like you could tell by the way he was positioning himself. His coverage was
really
horrendous.
Then it had a Paul Heyman promo backstage.
Great.
It was so good because he was hyping the Brock appearance, and then Samoa Joe just creeped up behind him, gave him the most horrid hug ever, because it was just sort of the choke.
He was just putting the hands into position to remind him of what he did, and to be like, oh my god, he's going to do it again. It's like, oh no, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do it.
You're looking good, man.
You're looking good. He's like, sorry. It's like, oh, it's so great. This is
great.
This is going to be quite high up on my feud of the year.
Yeah,
probably at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'm loving.
Let's see how it transpires. It's been a great build so far.
It could be like the Gold Dust and R-Truth, a great build and a terrible payoff.
So now we are here. The thing that meant I got a lot of tweets like, oh my god, they've beaten Alexa Bliss and Bayley. This is the worst segment of the year. This is worse than the This Is Your Life segment. And I was looking forward to that with that in mind. I thought this was hilarious.
Yeah, okay, so I also got some tweets about this as well, saying like, oh, well, okay, well, we now know what the new worst segment of the year was. And I was like, I didn't think it was bad. Okay, so it was a train wreck of like it was all sorts of trains that were just running into each other. But at the end of the day, no one got damaged, no character was hurt, and it was a celebrity segment that goes wrong. Sometimes these celebrity angles just go awry. And this was one of them.
As Dave Meltzer pointed out as well on Wrestling Observer Radio, you can't argue the decision. This is LA. The LeVar Ball, I think. Again, Lonzo Ball is the guy who was signed. He's just been signed to the LA Lakers. LeVar Ball is apparently everywhere in the States on the sports coverage.
I was going to say, like, being Brits that don't really follow sports, I've no idea.
They're just sort of like an NBA family.
It was just nice to find out what the Titus brand is based on.
Yeah, the Big Baller brand.
And as soon as they came out, I was like, oh, so this is what the Titus gimmick is. I get it now.
Maybe that's why they changed Titus's brand to Titus Worldwide during this show.
I think I would probably agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
So what happened was it was a Miz TV segment. They did a bit of awkward comedy first. It was, it was fine at the start. It was awkward, but it was kind of enjoyable awkward. LeVar Ball, who was the dad,
the patriarch.
He was going very much for it. He put a couple of good jokes in there as well, like just claiming that he can beat Michael Jordan 1-on-1. And he's the best basketball player in the world, and he's also number 2 and 3.
I just started to glaze over after. I was like a Randy Orton promo. I just started to like glaze over and just be like, I don't know what.
It's so much more exciting than a Randy Orton promo.
It's so much more exciting. But I got the same thing where I was like, after a while, I was like, I don't know what I'm watching anymore.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know what this is.
And the crowd weren't into it.
No.
The crowd were dead for
and
it.
you'd thought as well, like LA Lakers, he was like, the second overall draft pick, whatever the hell that was. And you'd have thought he'd come out to this big monster pop. And it was like, it
was kind of, kind of big.
Right. Cheers, lads.
But then they just cooled off immediately.
Oh, mate.
And then it gets to a point where LeVar Ball, I don't know why I keep saying Bell, probably because he is a bit of a bell end.
Yeah.
He took off his top when The Miz took off the top, and they're about to go at it, and everyone's like, oh my God, this is brilliantly terrible. And then Dean Ambrose's music hits. He comes out. Dean Ambrose says something, and then you can hear on the live mic, the youngest of the Ballers, he goes, beat that. N-word.
Yeah.
And Dean Ambrose is like, he goes to say his line, and then he kind of says a line, and then his music plays again, and it cuts to commercial. Oh, I live for that stuff.
It was car crash live TV. It was it's kind of glorious in a little way.
I would give anything to be backstage to see Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, just flipping out. Can you imagine?
I did love. Okay, so I mean, it was bad. What he said it's very bad. It reflects very poorly on the company, and the company had to release a statement and say immediately we're like, what he said does not reflect our values. We didn't. It was an unscripted line. We didn't ask for him to say those sorts of things. And then I was just playing back to that time when Vince McMahon said that to John Cena.
Different time.
It was a different era.
It wasn't so much of a big. I'm not even going to broach that.
I was going to say, what are you? I mean, you are. Let's not.
People could say it a lot more 10 years ago. There's even in Shaun of the Dead, Nick Frost gets out and goes, "What's up?
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah,
I watched that film quite recently. Yeah,
it was sort of.
Let's not. We're not the people. We are not the people to talk about this situation.
Yeah.
But either way, this segment was not the worst of the year. It was not worse than This Is Your Life. It was just pretty bad. But hilariously
bad.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of it. I can totally see why some people hated it, though.
Yeah.
I'm not taking that away from you. The next match, another 6-man tag, went forever. It was Miz and his new Miz Taraj.
Terrible
Bo
name.
Dallas and Curtis Axel. Bo Dallas is, of course, with the wrong person here. He's got a perfectly good Bray Wyatt, especially now he's growing out his beard and he's got a more aggressive streak. I just missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And they took on Dean Ambrose and Heath Slater and Rhino. And I don't know why I rolled the R there. Probably to make this more exciting than it actually is. It probably went so long because whatever that previous segment was cut quite short because of the...
Well, I'd imagine it was because like the Dean Ambrose was just saying things, and then all of a sudden his music just hit. And exactly,
leather jacket.
I remember watching it go like, oh, is that it? Because I didn't hear the comments.
Yeah.
I only found out about it after the statement was made. And it was funny as well because I was going through the Wrestling Observer boards and no one else picked up on it either.
I didn't hear it. I just thought but I realised they ended it quickly.
Yes, well,
because
that was
awful.
that was obviously clear, yeah.
Have you ever heard Xavier Woods do his lyrics to Dean Ambrose's entrance music?
No, is this on an up, up, down, down thing?
It is. It's very funny. It's just leather jacket. I'm gonna wear a leather jacket and jeans. Leather jacket. It's very good.
Very good.
So next up, we had what was probably my second favourite segment on the show. Actually, no. Favourite segment on the show. Enzo Amore came down and gave a hell of a performance.
Certainly did.
After a very good promo package as well.
Yeah.
Hyping up the whole Enzo and Cass history. Had some great, candid interviews with them in the back and showing when Big Cass broke up with him the previous week. Enzo's acting was really good.
He was great last week as well. That single tear.
Well, oh man, because we didn't talk about Raw last week, but when it was revealed to be Big Cass, Enzo turns around and is just like, no, it isn't, man.
Yeah.
No, I believe it. And I'm just like, no, it was.
Yeah. Do you know what? Again, and that's been 2 breakup angles that I thought were better than the Festival of Friendship.
I disagree. You know how I got a big hard-on for the Festival of Friendship.
Yeah.
I've still got a potty mouth from Glastonbury. Hard on. Honestly.
It's a PG show, man.
The things I say.
You were talking about, what was the Alexa Bliss? Oh, Alexa Bliss's mouth that you were really into on a few episodes back.
No, that was...
it was Alexa Bliss's mouth.
That was just me trying to find a joke in something
and
disappear it into Alexa Bliss.
And you had your subreddit's adventures as well.
Oh, Wrestle with the Plot.
No.
Oh, no, that's...
The bad one.
The bad Reddit.
Yeah. Remember I was talking about, I accidentally stumbled upon, and I did accidentally stumble upon, r/Jennifer Aniston's nipples.
Okay.
And you found out through the Wrestler's Feet one.
Oh, that was just Google.
Oh, was it a Google thing?
Yeah,
I
just
thought it was a
Googled
subreddit.
that was a wiki page.
Oh.
Anyone can edit it. Anyone could contribute to that masterpiece.
Anyway, let's jump back to the Enzo
was
segment.
Was that SWAFT?
Because this Enzo segment was actually very good. A hell of a promo by Enzo. And do you know what? By the end, sorry to interrupt. Do you know, by the end of it, I genuinely did think, I don't want these 2 to break up. I really don't want. I don't want these 2 to break up.
And then Big Cass, actually apologised. So after this big impassioned plea from Enzo, we're brothers, even though you did all this stuff to me, I know I can be annoying. Let's get back together. And Big Cass is like, you are annoying, but you know what? We're getting back together because I love you, man. You're my brother. The crowd are going like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's obviously a trap. And then they hug and they celebrate and they walk around. I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's going to be
okay. The crowd got
okay.
into it because they were like, I want us to team back up, and everyone was like, no, because it's clearly a trap. And then he was like, Enzo, I think we should be friends again. And everyone was like, no, because they're thinking it's clearly a trap. Then when they hug and he does like the SWAFT, everyone's like, oh, it's not a trap.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are back together.
There was so many points when Enzo was in front of Big Cass and I was just waiting for Big Cass to turn and do the clothesline or something. And I was like, you know what? I don't even care that they've completely botched this stupid angle because I'm happy that they're back together. If anything, this has made them stronger.
Yes.
And then they broke my
Yeah, Enzo pulled Cass rather pulled the Tommaso Ciampa, walked all the way to the back, make you think the segment is over. Now here's the thing: they can't do this too often. They can't keep doing the take right to the back. Now I know NXT is a much smaller audience, and there's probably 80% of the people who watch Raw didn't see the NXT.
I think it's even higher.
Yeah, actually, I'd probably say it's higher as well. Yeah, but at the same time, like you have got this hardcore set that are going to start eventually not buying into this. You got to use this wisely.
Dives. Don't do too many dives,
yeah.
kids.
But it was a great angle, and then he just picks him up, and as Kevin would say on the Attitude Era and How to Wrestling, just effed him off. Just effed him
off onto the ramp.
Effed him off onto the ramp.
Afterwards, Cass shouted at Corey Graves.
He certainly did, yeah.
Yeah. So when Corey Graves was sitting at the announcer's table, Cass came over, accused Graves of having dirt on Kurt. # dirt on Kurt. Which ties into a nice plug to Saturday's episode of WrestleRamble, which of course you can watch a whole day early if you donate $5 or more on Patreon, and that is we're going to be fantasy booking how we would unravel the Kurt Angle mystery on Raw. I've been talking a big game to Luke earlier today.
I mean, yeah, we've been sort of big game. We've also been texting each other, going like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing."
Initially, I was like, "I don't know where they're going to go with this,"
yeah.
But then I got a hook. I think.
Yeah, I managed to find one eventually.
Yeah,
it took me almost the entire tube ride here, but I managed to find a hook.
So find out that on a Friday if you want to give us money, or Saturday if you don't. Next up, we had Seth Rollins beating Kurt Hawkins.
Yep, his finisher really isn't over, is it?
Yeah, which is because I like the finisher, the jumping knee into the face after sort of the Rainmaker setup. But yeah,
crowd just like doesn't pop for it at all.
Well, they just haven't done a good job getting it in there, you know.
Yeah,
he's won matches with it, but it isn't connecting for whatever reason.
No, which is a real shame. But and then you haven't even written in your notes here, which shows how memory is.
Turned up, yeah.
Bray Wyatt cut a promo on the Titantron. Like I cannot be less enthused about this feud if I tried.
Yeah.
I've got literally nothing to say about it. I don't have a clue what Bray said. Don't know what he said last week either. I don't know what.
It's one big blur, isn't it?
It's just one big blur. It's just all the same thing.
One big Bray blur with a hat on.
Yeah. And a lantern. So let's skip past that.
My blur.
Let's go.
This was a good segment though. Samoa Joe attacks Brock Lesnar. So Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman is on Brock Lesnar's behalf throughout the night has been saying, Joe, we want to take you one-on-one before the Great Balls of Fire match, pay-per-view match. And Brock comes out to sort of, stand in the middle of the ring. As he comes out, Samoa Joe attacks him from the back, gets him in the Coquina clutch, and he's choking him out. Brock's trying to get rid of him. There's a brilliant bit where he bashes his back into the LCD screen.
Yeah,
LCD screen bends.
Oh, so good.
And Brock's face is going red and choking out. Lesnar put Joe over like $1 million.
Absolutely.
Here.
And Lesnar is smart like that. When Lesnar knows that he can do something really good with someone, he will go the extra mile to like make and to elevate them, because the theory in wrestling is that if you beat someone that's not on your level, then who did you beat? What did you gain?
Yeah.
So when you're cutting a promo on someone, part of that promo should be putting over your opponent, being like, you're really good, you're one of the best, but I'm better.
Yeah.
Because if you just go like, you're terrible and I'm better, and if you beat them, then what have you accomplished?
And if you lose, you look even worse.
You look even worse, yeah. So I think Lesnar did an amazing sell job on this. And actually someone got in touch with us on Twitter as well, who was actually a little bit upset by well, not say upset by it, but they thought it was a bit stupid, because last week they had the huge epic pull apart brawl where they had like the entire locker room doing it. Then this time around it was just the Revival and someone else.
Carl Anderson,
pulling off Joe. So it just took 3 guys. Whereas my argument to that was like, I thought it was even better. Because Joe's point he wanted to make in this angle, all he wanted to do when he came out was to put Lesnar in the clutch and say, this is what I can do to you, and I can knock you down. And then as soon as he made that point, he was like, I'm done. Yeah. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to make that point.
He sort of let go, didn't he?
I've made my point. I can go home now. So good.
I really like the segment. I did think the 3 people, especially being the Revival and Carl Anderson as well, was just a bit weird.
If anything, I'd have had less. I'd have had none. And just like he just decided, I'm done now.
Well, yeah, just some referees going, stop it, and Joe just
just like,
let's go.
Yeah.
Blows Paul Heyman a kiss, maybe. I don't know.
But either way, it was so good. This is the best that Joe has looked in Man, a long time.
It's Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, I guarantee, is right in all of this.
Actually, almost about to say then, this is the best that Joe has looked since 2006 TNA.
Ooh. I didn't watch much of his NXT run.
His NXT run was great and it was fine, but he was never like... You remember when people used to chant, Joe's gonna kill?
Yeah.
Like, no one would have been doing that. Like, his NXT run was really good. I loved his series with Finn Balor. Yeah. His series with Nakamura was great promo-wise, but, like, the matches didn't really deliver anything great. And since it's been a bit of a squib on the main roster thus far. But he did nothing in TNA for the last 5-6 years he was there. But his 2006-2007 run was when he was just at his apex brilliance. It's probably like
lockdown.
Exactly,
feud.
yeah. There might be a couple of years later after that as well, but like his
Ring of Honor stuff was very good.
Ring of Honor stuff was amazing, but like in his TNA stuff, there's probably like another really good Joe run that I can't remember.
But one where he just kidnapped people with a machete.
Well, I was going to say that's the only one I really remember where he drew a penis on his face and carried a machete, and it was just really bad.
So we're big fans, and Paul Heyman backstage afterwards finally said, "Goodness gracious, great balls of fire."
Yeah.
So. That's out the way. Next up, we had Neville beating Lindsay Dorado.
Yep.
Tozawa is now in... Akira Tozawa was like in a VIP area next to the ring, wearing shades. I thought that made him look really good.
Tozawa, he's such a good-looking dude, and he looks like a badass when he's wearing a suit and shit. He just looks awesome. He looks like a total dude.
When he was standing there, like next to Neville, and he was in the suit, I was like, this feels like a sporting UFC press conference fight.
Good, yeah.
Unfortunately, although I love the idea of a manager, Titus wasn't the most rousing. Partly because he is trying to get his act over, which is his gimmick. Yeah. But
Paul Heyman, he is not.
Yeah. But I did like when he said, "Will the power of Tozawa overcome the Neville level?"
The Neville level is not
Thriller
the same.
in Manila.
Yeah, it's quite good.
But yeah, written there, Tozawa in suit felt legit.
He does look awesome in the suit.
I am very street when not here. Yeah. So the main event was...
Let's talk about this main event. I
really enjoyed it.
Oh, mate, this was an epic disaster.
Whoa!
Okay, so...
Should we describe what it was first?
Please do.
Just in case people, and I understand why, wouldn't want to sit through a 3-hour Raw. It was a gauntlet match, main event. You had most of the women's division in there. Started off with Nia Jax and Bayley. Nia Jax beat her relatively quickly. Then she beat Mickie James. Then she beat Dana Brooke and Emma very quickly.
Squashed those two.
And then Sasha Banks came out and they had a relatively long match.
And actually, I would say an excellent.
Yes, I agree. And Nia Jax was choked out. No, not choked out. She just submitted to a weird bank statement.
Yeah, it was a really cool ending, actually.
Yeah. So what was wrong?
It was okay. So I'd actually really enjoyed the booking of Nia Jax in this match. There's a few people got in touch with me saying like, "Oh, it's completely killed her character," and I disagree. Actually, I thought that she looked really great. She fought for over 30 minutes and she beat 4 women quite comfortably. And then it was just because Sasha Banks was the last hurdle for her to overcome, and that was the one thing she couldn't do.
Took her to the limit.
I thought it was actually a great use of your Nia Jax character, and she looked pretty great throughout. I thought her squashing Dana Brooke was pretty good.
Sort of handspring somersault, and then she just pushed her onto the ground.
Yeah, that was great. She squashed Emma, and she looked really, really great in defeat. So that I have no problem with. I also have no problem with elevating Sasha Banks. Where I get upset about this is that Sasha Banks role, that should be Bayley. That position there should be Bayley. Your whole thing is you're trying to push, like, can Bayley do this? Can Bayley be extreme? And, yeah, no, she can't, because she just got beat by Nia Jax quite soundly. Do you know what she is? Rubbish. She's no good.
A fresh Nia Jax, no less.
Yeah, a fresh Nia Jax, exactly. Like, if like...
No, wait, that is harder to...
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's harder for her to overcome. Actually, if it had been later in the match, it would have been even worse. But it's harder for her to come. But she didn't get take her to any sort of level. She just...
Not the Neville level.
She just got beaten.
Not the Jack stacks.
She was 3 minutes, and then she was beaten. And then, Mickie James got almost the same amount of time that Bayley did.
Oh, shit. No one cares about Mickie James, do they?
And then poor old Dana Brooke. I got really excited. As soon as I heard Dana Brooke's music, I was like, I haven't heard this music in ages. Yeah, and then she did a big cartwheel out, and Michael Cole just goes, she does this cartwheel, and Michael Cole goes, should be doing cartwheels, focus on the match.
Yeah.
And I was like, shut up, Michael Cole, she's the baby face, put her over. Yeah. And then, so she squashed her, one move, Emma came in. I was like, brilliant, Emma's here. Squash one move. And I'm like, oh, well, that's really damaging to poor old Dana and Emma. And then, yeah, I really... Okay, so I've just got conflicting things about it. I really like the ending. But the destruction of Bayley in this match...
You love Bayley so much.
Because she's money. She is money sitting there waiting for you to use, and you're not doing anything with it. Yeah. Okay, so someone pointed this out on Reddit, and I think this is the perfect thing to sum up Bayley as the Bayley on the main roster. Izzy. You know, Izzy?
Yes, the super fan, very adorable.
Izzy the Bayley girl, absolutely adorable. If anyone doesn't know, in NXT, she goes to every show. She was Bayley's biggest fan. She used to dress up as Bayley for every single show. She used to hug Bayley.
The parents would be there. She was used in angles.
She was used in angles. Oh, there was an amazing, when they did the first ever Iron Woman match, what they called it, an Iron Man match.
Iron Maiden.
No, they called it Iron Man. But they should have called it Iron Maiden. Yeah. Very good pun. And there was a moment when Sasha got her most heel heat by shouting at Izzy after she was destroying Bayley, and then was like, "Oh, what do you think of your hero now?" And Izzy started crying, and it drew the most heat that Sasha Banks ever had in her heel NXT run. So much so that Sasha Banks burst into tears and had to apologise to her afterwards because she felt really bad about making her cry. Okay, so Izzy is now a big Alexa Bliss fan. She posted up pictures that she's now dressing like Alexa Bliss and doing Alexa Bliss poses.
Turn.
Izzy has turned heel.
Maybe she just grew up.
In the space of 6 months.
Yeah. Well, WWE booking can do that.
That's what I mean. It's just that you had the biggest Bayley fan in the world, and you've turned that poor girl against her hero because Bayley has been destroyed on the main roster. So while I thought the actual ending match was great, and I thought Sasha Banks looked brilliant in her victory, and I thought Nia Jax looked it's the best Nia Jax has looked on the main roster. I thought she looked absolutely awesome. Unstoppable monster. It was wonderful. At the destruction of Bayley, I wasn't keen.
So I totally agree with you. I mean, it's almost a redundant point now. Oh, they've screwed up Bayley on the main roster. Yeah. Like the issues are way further back than this match.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, this is just another nail in said coffin.
Yep.
I really enjoyed the match, as I've said before. God, the Sasha Banks Nia Jax bit at the end was really good. I really got into it.
It's the best Nia Jax has looked actually since her match with Bayley at in London.
I wasn't a fan of that match.
When they did actually a very similar thing, and I thought they replicated that very well into the main roster.
But so this is the second time WWE have done this in a couple of months, and it is having a gauntlet match where the heels are put in the babyface position. There was the Sheamus and Cesaro tag team gauntlet match that we saw live in London.
We did indeed, yeah.
And Sheamus and Cesaro lasted all the way through to the end and then won the whole match. And you're like, but they're the heels. It makes them look strong, but that's kind of... It was a bit arse-backwards psychology. Nothing, like you can do things differently, but then to do it again here, just a couple of months later, shows how much WWE have lost it with basic babyface booking. They can do heels great.
Yeah.
But for babyfaces, not so much at all. So how I would have done this differently is just make it a really long elimination match. You've got all 5 women in there. Dana Brooke goes. Mickie James goes. Maybe Emma costs Bayley. But Nia Jax is eliminating all these people. And then by the end of it, Sasha looks great because she's lasted all this time, and Nia looks awesome because she's eliminated everyone and she's lasted all this time. And then you can tell, because as great as that Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax ending part was, it was missing out on Sasha Banks' journey because she hadn't had the similar Iron Woman performance as Nia Jax had. And I think if you did an elimination match, you could get round that. But I still really enjoyed it.
Slightly differently, I'd have still, if you're going to do it as a gauntlet match, I'd have had Bayley out first, but I'd have had her with like Mickie James, Dana, and Emma first. So Bayley goes through that, but during that, perhaps like Emma, when Emma gets eliminated third, so let's say you do like Mickie James, Dana, Emma, she viciously attacks Bayley after the match, maybe like with a chair, and takes her out. So then she's got to face Nia Jax. Now she's got an uphill struggle.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Nia Jax because she's already injured. And then babyface never gives up. She's fighting back, but eventually Nia Jax just takes her out. And then that doesn't hurt Bayley as a character because Bayley had to overcome the Nia Jax situation.
You protect people in defeat.
Yes.
Well, Well, I hope you enjoyed the 45 minutes of Raw talk there. Now we've got about 3 minutes to cover the entirety of SmackDown.
And it's not like there wasn't a lot to talk about either.
You know how this works.
Yeah.
It was like how the Raw show was a go-home show pretty much, just a week early, which means it's going to be an awful show. WWE is so bad at go-home shows at the moment.
Yeah.
This was almost a mini pay-per-view in terms of all the matches they're pre-announced. So you had Daniel Bryan open the show by coming out to say, look, we've got the Usos versus the Hype Bros to get a title shot. Mm-hmm. We've got Naomi versus Lana.
Yep.
And we've got the women's Money in the Bank rematch. It's like a stacked 2-hour show there. Turns out that the Usos beat the Hype Bros in about 3 minutes of TV time.
Yeah.
With the commercial break. Nearly missed it.
I know. And not only that, but like it was less of a match, more of a setup for the New Day to come out. So I think the Hype Bros are not long for the SmackDown roster.
Someone said in the comments of the WrestleTalk review of SmackDown that maybe the Hype Bros are behind trashing.
That doesn't make any sense though,
Breezango.
because Ryder's not been back that long. So
he could have been throwing stuff off walls with an injured leg.
I'd rather it not be the Hype Bros.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So it's back to this opening segment. Carmella and Ellsworth came out after Daniel Bryan talked about the women's Money in the Bank match, and I think James Ellsworth might be the new Miz.
He was very good, and Carmella's great, so good. I said a tweet to a friend of mine last week that Carmella's promo on last week's SmackDown made me turn a corner on the Money in the Bank finish.
Same.
Because I didn't like the Money in the Bank finish only because it wasn't that James Ellsworth helped. It was that James Ellsworth won the match and then just tossed down the briefcase to her. That was what I thought was that's a bit rubbish.
It was just a rubbish finish.
It was just a rubbish finish. It just felt flat. That was my biggest issue with it. It just felt completely flat. So, but when she came out, she cut that promo. It was like people have cheated in Money in the Banks all the time. I'm like, I'm not saying that she's wrong. I was like, it was just a great promo.
Such a good promo.
And then she cut an even better promo this week. She's like coming on leaps and bounds. And we said that as soon as she gets that Money in the Bank, she's the perfect person for it. It's brilliant booking for her. And
but James Ellsworth is really acing his role as the friend-zoned. Yeah. We all know someone like that, don't we? Who just he's over defensive of the lady because that's the way he articulates going out with the lady, making more of a relationship than they actually have.
Yeah.
Just want to just shake him. Stop it.
He was really good.
He was so good in that role, and he has delivered some real killer lines to Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan is so good at just getting everyone behind him that when he squares up to Ellsworth, I'm like, well, I want to see an Ellsworth-Bryan match. What the hell, guys? Ellsworth was then ejected from the building. Not quite in Bo Dallas NXT levels of spectacular.
No, it was pretty good. That? Yeah, it was pretty good though.
But it was he held onto the ropes. Yeah. He tried to jump the barricade, but ended up belly flopping into the barricade.
He sold it so well. It was amazing.
He's got his roll down really, really well. This time, well, not this time last year, but late last year, we're all like, I don't think a heel move's right for him.
Oh, no, I loved that.
Oh, I was saying that. I was like, he's just such a good two fists, but my God, I hold my hands up.
Okay, so, I would say that I've not enjoyed Ellsworth this much since the AJ Dean storyline. Like, once that came to a conclusion and AJ squashed him, I've not enjoyed Ellsworth since then. But
now I've
turned a corner. Turned a corner on both him and Carmella's Money in the Bank win.
So the Usos and Hype Bros, we've already talked about that squash match pretty much. The New Day rap battle, that sounds horrible, but New Day are great and on the mic, and Usos are also very good on the mic. Did you watch any of Talking Smack?
No, I've not seen this week's Talking Smack.
I recommend the Usos talking to Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan's Sweet Beats persona returns, and he does a rap with the Usos.
Is there a moment in there where Kevin Owens breaks Renee's phone?
I haven't seen it, but I read that Renee swears at Owens by accident.
Really?
Yeah, so maybe that's tied into that.
I thought it was something to do with her phone because someone tweeted Renee saying like, "Oh my God, is your phone okay?" And she replied saying like, "No, I'm using a laptop like a complete dinosaur."
Using Dean's.
Like I'm using a laptop like a dinosaur. And someone I think what probably works within the company was just like, we got to hope that Kevin Owens doesn't have this thing that lets you know what device you're tweeting from. And she replied with, oh, with the emoji with the big eyes, because Kevin Owens did see it, and it was like tweeted from her iPhone, and he was like, disgusting.
Kayfabe, you're exposing the business, Renee. That is SWAFT. SWAFT behaviour.
Kevin Owens is great.
The Fashion Vice segment was up next.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Fashion Vice yet. What a great direction to take this gimmick in.
They've gone 4-3 as well with the aspect ratio.
I love that. And he was on the big phone, property of Paul Heyman. Loved it.
Paulie Dangerously, sorry.
Back
in the day.
Sorry.
And what did they say? Sweet Ron Simmons.
Yes.
Ronald Simmons. That was good. So they were interrogating the Ascension. They did the good cop gag.
Yes.
You know, where they misunderstood good cop.
It was completely worth it for the line, I think we were both good cops. No, I think we were both great.
Yeah, that's good.
We were both great cops.
They did a similar thing back when they were doing the Fashion Police ages ago. There's a backstage segment on YouTube with what's the name? Billy Kidman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But Billy Kidman, of course, now a road agent for WWE. And they do a skit like that with him, but Fandango goes too bad, and he keeps on just screaming at him. And it's other guys send up. You remember the scene?
Yeah.
But that was good. So were the Ascension here. I mean, unfortunately, the Ascension are now just a joke.
Yeah,
because
poor lads.
They took the
longest reigning NXT Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, so they said no. They were offered. Do you know who Frankie Money is?
No, and that's a problem because the crowd didn't either. Like that was an 80s reference that no one really got. Like I'd have gone with something like Wham. I think Wham would be like it would have been a more obvious joke.
So it was I guess a cheesy pop singer ticket. They were offered that to grease the wheels of the interrogation. And the Ascension were like, no, we listen to hardcore thrash metal only. And then at the end, you can see them take the tickets. So good.
And when they were both eating the cheese off the cheese board, it was very good as well. Yeah.
But the big thing about this, thank God, because what a rubbish reveal the Ascension would have been as the culprits for this long-running storyline. The Office was again trashed while the Ascension were being interrogated. Ergo, it was not the Ascension.
So, okay, I mean, after Money in the Bank last week, when the Ascension came out, and I was like, oh, really?
I knew it. It was a placeholder.
That was what I thought as well, until the Smackdown after, when American Alpha made their return to TV, and Chad Gable challenged for the US title, and I was like, oh, maybe they have ended this then, and it was the Ascension. And then when they said this week that the Office was trash again, I was like, oh, thank God for that, because otherwise this would have been really disastrous. I mean, I'm hoping it's still American Alpha, but if it is, why in the hell did you have Chad Gable wrestle on TV last week?
I don't know.
Bloody Road Dogg.
Speaking of the United States Championship, which I accidentally called Intercontinental Championship in today's Smackdown review.
Oliver Davis.
Didn't make it in. The editor spotted that and removed it. So there was a bit of a weird cut that happens there. If you want to go and check that mistake out. The next United States Challenger will be decided by an Independence Day Battle Royal, because next week is the 4th of July episode. WWE apparently very concerned that's going to be a low rating episode because it's a holiday. But you've got John Cena's return. You've got the rap battle, which is obviously going to draw big. You've got now this Independence Day Battle Royal. So Styles looks like he's going to be the front runner for that, continuing their feud before Money in the Bank.
Absolutely.
But Styles and Owens, two big names, and Nakamura, who was just watching a TV that way, both sort of left off telly this week.
Yeah. I suppose they had other things that they wanted to do.
Fair enough.
It's
quite nice that that's the benefits you have of a 2-hour show.
It's like NXT. NXT doesn't have the same guys wrestle every week, and when they do then come out, you're like, oh, this is good. It keeps them fresh.
Just keep the plates gently spinning rather than crashing them in together.
Touch your hand again.
Next up, we had Naomi beating Lana in 2 minutes.
I'm surprised it was 2 minutes. It felt like much shorter. Felt
as short as Lana's little skimpy outfit.
Yeah, less revealing than it was at Money in the Bank, but still, not a. So is Lana's gimmick then is that she is not because
she can't wrestle.
Yeah, because JBL said at one point this would be the upset of the century, and I was like, you do remember that Jinder's the WWE champion, right? Like that happened literally a couple of weeks ago. What do you do with Lana next?
I really don't know.
Do you put her back with Rusev? Is Rusev going to come back for the US for
that is
the
a
Battle
great
Royal?
shout.
Yeah,
because he was back. He returned at the house shows at the weekend. Apparently, he was backstage, but he didn't come out.
And he's been doing three-ways with AJ and Kevin Owens.
Okay.
Oh, T-shirt's fallen.
Oh no, we haven't had that happen for ages. Oh, well, we'll proceed. We'll carry on. But Rusev can't win that match. Surely, you can't have Rusev against Owens
Unless you try and do the
Rusev face.
Well, no, I was going to say you could try and do the double fallout battle
finish.
like you did with Luke Harper.
The Sid Hulk.
Yes, I mean that's when you want to do it correctly.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more Luke Harper when you balls it up.
God, that was a weird one.
Or John Cena Batista where they balls it up as well.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Vince McMahon can run down, tear his quad again.
Well, that's hilarious.
So yes, we don't know what to do with Lana either. However, Randy Orton knows what he wants. God, that was a good segue.
Speaking of segues,
he wants a match against Jinder Mahal. Shane McMahon came out.
do you know what? I can't tell you a single thing that Randy Orton said because I just
He sat down for a bit.
I just tune out.
Yeah,
like
no.
Aiden English was there, and I was like, oh, I guess we're getting a Ty Dillinger match this week. And then as soon as Randy Orton's music hit, I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
And then he came out and he's like, I want another match. And I'm like, I don't want to see 3 Jinder Randy matches.
Classic program.
Classic program.
SWAFT.
Yeah, SWAFT. This is SWAFT. I don't want to see Randy win.
I don't think he will. Because it looks like they're going Jinder Cena for SummerSlam. I don't know who wins there. But Shane McMahon said, you can have the rematch, Randy, if you let Jinder choose the stipulation. So Jinder comes out with Singh Bros. And he, what can I choose that benefits me? I've got my bros who can interfere in the match.
Yeah. Why don't you pick a 3-on-1 handicap match?
Yeah. Nope. He chooses the match that isolates him within 2 walls of Punjabi prison.
He picks the Punjabi prison. Has only been used twice on pay-per-view, I think. They did release a toy set of it.
Yeah, so it was Undertaker versus Khali, but Khali got done for wellness
and
policy,
so ended up being
Big Show,
yeah.
And then there was Batista and
Khali, I think.
Did Khali do one?
I think Khali did
Khali
one.
must have done one.
I think that was that the Great American Bash Show 6?
It would 06 was the last one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the infamously bad Great American Bash Show 6. Yeah, I don't think that's on my. I think that's actually on my to watch list. Coming up in my timeline run.
Woo!
I know, woohoo, right? So yeah, it's. So, as a friend of mine, shout out to Kel, Jesse represent. He pointed out to me
what just happened.
He pointed out to me. He sent me a message on Facebook this morning saying, "Has everyone forgotten that Jinder's first feud when he came into WWE was with the Great Khali?" And then he's there going like, "My hero, the great man, the Great Khali."
Consistency. So yeah, we've got a Punjabi prison match at probably Backlash.
Backlash, yeah,
I think
that's
it's
the one.
called.
Yep.
Next up, we have Baron Corbin beating Sami Zayn.
But before that,
this
here's
is
to the
greatest
love I've ever known. Boom, boom, boom. I'm burning up in your love, your love. I'm burning up in your love, your love. This is the greatest entrance music.
Good.
That's so good.
We are living through a golden age of entrance music.
When they came out of Money in the Bank, as soon as that music hit, I was like, this is the best music I've ever heard.
I listened to the 50-second clip on
Yeah.
YouTube that someone pulled from that they weren't talking over. So much that week. I was singing that around Glastonbury.
It was stuck in my head so much so that I was singing around the house and my lady partner, my wife-to-be, the woman who I'm marrying in October, said, like, what the hell are you singing? And I was like, and then I had to sit her down and explain it, what it was. And I was like, but you've got to listen to this song. Yeah. It's so good.
So my lady partner doesn't like wrestling, but she really likes the violin-y song, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
She likes the fancy song, she actually means fabulous, by the Carmella one.
Yeah.
She gets confused with the Iggy Azalea. And now she likes this one as well because I forced her to listen to it. It's great.
We may have it at the wedding.
What one? The Canellis' entrance music.
We may do, yeah.
In what capacity?
Well,
when you walk down to the aisle?
Not saying anything more, but we may use it.
We're not doing a flash mob, are we?
No.
Thank God I hate that stuff.
No.
As if Wedding Dance self-indulgent enough already. Let's go viral with a flash mob pre-organised dance. Sorry if you are actually doing that. I'll be very honoured if you want to do a flash mob.
No, it's not.
So Sami Zayn, the Canellises. I really like Mike Bennett's intro.
He's so good. And I'm Maria's husband, Mike Kanellis.
It's just because when they first did that at Money in the Bank, and Maria's like, I'm Maria Kanellis, the first woman of wrestling. And then I'm Maria's husband, Mike Kanellis. And then JBL just goes, he took her name.
He took her name.
It's like, oh, I mean, obviously, we're all about equality, and the idea of a woman taking a man's name is inherently ridiculous. It comes from a patriarchal society. However, there is something inherently ridiculous. It's too much the other way.
That's it, yeah, because I was explaining this to my lady partner, and I was like, and the gimmick is he's taken her name, and she's like, oh, that's so cute. And
that's what Anna said, yeah.
That's so cute. And I was like, oh, you said your lady partner's name?
Dear, she doesn't exist now.
I said, I was like, oh no, but they're the bad guys, and you're meant to think that he's a loser. And she's like, oh, well, I don't like this at all. That's very sad.
Yeah, this So we just had a little cameo over there. Someone was looking at us through the glass. But yes, I think it's an excellent gimmick. It's a shame because it is a mid-card gimmick.
Oh yeah, but Mike Bennett.
I've always liked Mike Kanellis.
I agree, but Mike Kanellis is at his best when he's in that slot. Like a feud with Sami Zayn, which is where it looks like this is heading, is a perfect first feud for him. I was actually more concerned that it was going to be lower mid card. I thought it was going to end up in a feud with Ty Dillinger, and I'd be like, oh no, that's not a great.
What happened to Ty?
Where's Ty? But going in with Sami Zayn, that does put you in that upper mid card, and he can be in that US title picture eventually. I think that's a much better slot for him.
Yeah, I do take your point. So Sami Zayn interrupted them as they were doing their sort of motivational shtick.
So good. I love the mics as well.
Yeah, and Sami Zayn's like, oh, sorry guys,
I've got a match.
Which was very good. Which I thought was going to play into the finish. Baron Corbin won clean, but I thought maybe Mike Kanellis was going to cost him it to protect Sami.
But they're spreading the power of love. They're not interfering in matches. Not only that, but Baron needed to win clean.
Yeah, I think it is good that Baron got a clean victory nowadays. Because he's obviously been built up for Nakamura, who was shown awkwardly watching the screen at that angle. And finally, in the main event, we have the women's Money in the Bank rematch. So the second one.
The
what
do-over.
do you think? You haven't told me.
Okay. So I really enjoyed the pay-per-view match that they had. I thought it was a decent little match, except for the ending.
Yeah.
I had a proper lull, as the kids would say, when Carmella the morning after tweeted a picture of her sat down, with her legs spread out, holding the Money in the Bank briefcase in almost the same style as Shawn Michaels holding the championship. It's just it's the same feeling. I was like, it is probably a similar feeling.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels winning his first championship after a really hard-fought match. You being handed the briefcase in a really pants finish to a match.
Great heel move, at least.
I'm not sure it was a heel move. I thought that was her genuine.
Oh, you think she was being genuine?
Genuinely think that's how she was feeling. Yeah. So I felt really bad for her because she should be feeling great. If they'd have done the finish they did on this for this Money in the Bank, no one would have said anything. And it would have been great, and it would have been perfect for her character. And that is Gorilla Position kept pointing. James D'Lo kept saying it's entertainment. It's a storyline. It's a soap opera. Problem is when you start bringing history into it. It's so the first person to ever win a women's Money in the Bank ladder match is James Ellsworth. It should have been Carmella. James Ellsworth pushing her up should have done that.
Or I think James Ellsworth goes up, costs Becky it, and Becky takes out James Ellsworth while that's happening. Carmella sneaks up.
Exactly.
Because you want to get... James Ellsworth needs that receipt from Becky Lynch.
Yes.
Because he's been so antagonistic towards her.
And it was great to see her push over the ladders there and him crush his nuts on the top rope.
You got that.
That was great.
He sold that really well as well.
He did. But the match itself, I touched your hand again. What's wrong with me?
Maybe we're too close.
Magnetised to you today.
Well, we haven't seen each other for 2 weeks.
That's what it is.
So it could be that.
The match itself was just... It was a nothing match, really. It wasn't... I'm not saying that I need, massive high spots in my Money in the Banks, but I need some spots at the very least.
I want at least someone falling onto a ladder. No one was even hit with a ladder.
That's what I mean. It was just it was a very, very safe, and I'd like a safe match, but a very safe ladder match. it was, we've just done this 2 weeks ago, so let's not push the boat out because we'll probably got to do another one of these in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're going to do another do-over.
Yeah.
Charlotte didn't even jump off anything. What the hell, guys?
It was a fine match.
So you had that big brawl before the Money in the Bank match, like several weeks ago, and Natalya was put through a table, I think, and Charlotte did the corkscrew off the top rope, and then in the actual Money in the Bank match, you had quite a few nice spots as well. This one, it was just people climbing up the ladder.
Yeah.
Different, and there was that horrible, it was kind of funny, but by that point I was bored of the match. Carmella climbed up. She was near the briefcase. All 4 other women lifted up the ladder, carefully moved it to the side and put it down.
Loved it. That was so good.
No, it wasn't. That was rubbish.
That was great. I enjoyed that.
I lost patience during that point.
I was laughing at there was clearly a planned spot when Tamina was meant to lift up the ladder with Charlotte on there, but Tamina was out of position. And so Charlotte put the ladder over, and then clearly Tamina was like, "Oh no, I'm in the wrong place because the hard camera's over there." That's what they teach you in NXT. That's the whole point of NXT. You've got to learn where the hard camera is.
Got to work the cam.
And so they had this really awkward, slightly move around, and then Charlotte sort of moved it, and then Tamina got into her proper position, and it was a bit goofy.
Yeah, so
just work with what happens. It's not improvise. Sometimes the problem with the women's wrestling in WWE, because it's so rehearsed and so refined, and it's almost like a DDP match. It's like everything is written down blow for blow, and as soon as one of those doesn't work, they don't know what to do. The women's Hell in a Cell match, when Charlotte was meant to fall backwards onto the table, and then Sasha was going to do the double knees, but Charlotte landed on the table and just went through it. The pair of them just sort of literally like, well, now what do we do?
Oh, no.
They literally, they could almost say it was like, well, now what? And the rest of the match was a complete write-off because neither of them knew what they needed to do next.
Well, how do you feel about this? Now that the whole Money in the Bank thing is over, was this a successful angle? Or was it something that could have just been done in the first match?
It should have been done in the first match. Because
and then you just have the one.
Exactly, because I think that Carmella winning now does less for her character than it would have done had she won in a similar fashion the first time round. Because now she's a justified champion. Or she's a justified Money in the Bank winner.
I mean, she did have that really good heel promo the 2 days after Money in the Bank on SmackDown, but I mean, overall, it's just a little bit of a wet fart, isn't it?
That's it, yeah.
It's nothing more than that. That is the longest WrestleRamble we've ever done. We're at an hour 5 minutes on the clock here. So very quickly, what was better this week, Luke Owen, Raw or SmackDown?
I know you want it quickly, but this is a tough one.
Oh no,
this is a tough one.
Tell me.
And I'm trying to weigh it up, and I think. Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it to Raw. I thought Raw was the more enjoyable show this week. I know a lot of people hated that segment, but I thought it was very funny. And overall, I just that the Enzo bit was really good. I really liked the gauntlet match. I tell you what, though, 3 hours, broken record, is still way too long for a wrestling show. I thought, sometimes I feel like I only feel that because I watch it so early in the morning, but actually watching it later in the day made it even worse.
Yeah.
I was like, 3 hours of my life has just gone.
Yes.
What a big waste of everything in the middle of my day.
Yes, it is long.
Yeah, but if it ended an hour and a half, 2 hour show, I would have been like, that was time well spent. But there is a point when time spent becomes time wasted, and that's when you start to resent it. But yes, I thought Raw was the better show this week. By quite a way, actually.
And do you know what? In fact, actually, I'm going to go Raw as well, just because.
You just waited for me.
I was trying to think of I was trying to weigh up things in my mind. I'm really into Joe Lesnar at the moment. It's my favourite feud. And excuse me, in WWE. I couldn't have waited another 3 minutes to get that bit of gas out there. It's my favourite feud in WWE at the moment. Really liked Goldust's promo. The angle was a bit of a dead squib. Loved the ending of the gauntlet. Didn't like all the Bayley stuff. And the brand stuff that was with Miz TV was good car crash telly.
And the opening 6-man tag was
good fun. There was a lot of talking points.
The
coming
Roman
up.
bump.
Yeah, and the Enzo and Cass stuff. Yeah, I mean,
show.
As great as Mike and Maria Kanellis' entrance music is, I can't just give it to SmackDown because I heard that music. I was mortified when they weren't on SmackDown last week.
Yeah,
so I was so happy to see them this week.
Maria Kanellis and Mike Canellis. Well, that's all we've got time for today. Click the videos that have just appeared over Luke's face to catch up with the latest WrestleRamble or the WrestleTalk news. Of course, support WrestleTalk on Patreon. Click subscribe. And I was so close to doing this perfectly. That's Luke Owen. I'm Ollie Davis. And that was Rambling.